That's right.
That's right. That's right. Bollocks. Bollocks.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Is the 5th of November.
Yeah. remember.
We've watched a glorious adaptation of a graphic novel.
Such a good movie, man.
And you're listening to
Quiet in the Back. Shh. Shut the fuck up.
Quiet in the Back.
Quiet in the Back. I'm Austin Jenny.
And I'm the co-host, Patrick William.
Yeah, we watched V For Vendetta today.
Vociferous, vendiferous, valid, Victorian, verily, vixen, and...
Dude, the V's.
He says, like,
holy shit.
just about every V word in the dictionary.
It's specifically that little sequence
Yeah.
when he's like talking to her about it. It is that, oh man, I imagine so many takes. My God. Or they must just be like patched together. How do you say that? How could you speak?
I think you just practice.
Really?
I think you're just watching a professional actor do their thing.
Christ.
That's why they get paid the big bucks.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, man.
That's why I'm practicing my alphabets. So I can earn some real money.
We're tired of this.
Retire with my V's.
Yes, please. Oh, man.
So? Pertinent?
No.
This is a movie about revolution, oppression,
yeah,
rebellion.
Yeah. I mean, I just couldn't believe the similarities to the things that I'm seeing currently in the world. It was actually so scary.
You know, I watched this movie growing up. Like, I think I was, 2005?
Mm-hmm.
I was a freshman in high school. It's when I watched it the first time. And in 2005, things were different.
Very much so.
We had 9/11
Mm-hmm.
4 years earlier, and there was sort of the beginnings of a police state and the sort of continuation of this Middle Eastern war that we're still
in. Yeah, thanks, Bush.
20 years later.
Fucking sick, dude.
And in 2001, it had already been 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
This is like a 50 years war now that we're like in at this point. You know, when you're in high school and you watch this, it's just sort of fanciful ideas. It's like, oh, can you imagine hypothetically if fascism were to come to your country, like how you would react? And then you fantasize about rebellion.
Yeah.
And all these things.
Yeah. I mean, yes. So yes, I can fantasize. I am currently living. We are currently living in that, but like 3 or 4 years from now.
Right.
Which is so
you watch
scary.
it today and you start seeing the parallels, because at the beginning of the movie, they're sort of setting the stage and they're talking about how there was the reclamation.
And how there's like immigrants and Muslims that are invading their country. And
what they said was they had to get rid of all of them. So they were already people who were British citizens or people there, but they had to round up the undesirables is the word they use. And they had to get rid of all of the immigrants. They got rid of all the Muslims, the homosexuals. I think there may have been 1 or 2 more categories listed, but it's not very important. Just anyone that's not a standardized white Brit. Heterosexual, and religious. You have to be Christian.
Yeah, of course.
Because he's like, what is he? I'm a God-fearing Brit. Goddamn proud of it.
Goddamn proud of it. Yeah.
It's a dark time.
Yes. Yes, it is, and it is in this movie, and it is in real life in a lot of ways. And yeah, the direct parallels that like I couldn't, it was distracting at first, honestly. I was like
I just keep seeing our real world people, like the news guy is like Tucker Carlson or Piers Morgan or Bill O'Reilly. And then like the chancellor is like some version of Trump or other sort of like European leaders as well. Putin almost it's just like too close now.
Yep. It hits a little different, especially compared to the last time I watched it, which was probably now thinking about it, was probably when I was in high school as well. So this probably would have been like 2014 or so was probably the last time I saw it. And it wasn't nearly like, it did not hit me at all like that.
No, because Obama was president, and like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the world obviously had problems, and Obama wasn't a perfect president,
No, of course
but
not.
he wasn't a fascist.
Yes, and now we're just like pretty quickly devolving into
Yeah.
that. Ugh.
So let's set the stage.
Yeah.
We've got a movie that's taking place in London.
Yeah.
It is within the quarantine zone, quote unquote.
So yeah, like, what do you think that means to you?
The movie establishes that there was a viral attack, a
Mm-hmm.
chemical weapon
Mm-hmm.
that was released in England,
Yeah.
outside of London.
Got
There
you.
were
So
3 locations that were hit.
yeah, Three Waters and St. Mary's and something else.
And
Yeah.
a school of some
Mhm.
sort, or a pipeline or something. But I think St. Mary's is the school.
Yeah.
But those areas were quarantined, and people in London were locked down. And they mentioned that multiple times, like, that's outside the quarantine zone, or like, you
Mhm.
can't go over there. So they're living in a lockdown society.
Of just the city of
Right,
Greater London.
like the core metropolitan
Yeah.
area.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's a camera and a loudspeaker on every corner.
Yeah.
So it's a surveillance state.
Mm-hmm.
It's a propaganda state. They mentioned that the TV station is like hardwired to all the loudspeakers,
Mm-hmm.
so that the chancellor can like deliver messages to the people
At any time or anything
Yeah.
like that. Announce curfews and on anything like that. So yeah,
Right.
it's like a techno-Christian ethno-state.
Yeah.
Sweet.
There's curfews that they put in, different codes. Like I think the first scene with Evie, the main character played by Natalie Portman,
Mm-hmm.
she's like leaving her house during a code yellow curfew.
Yeah.
And she's not allowed to. And then she gets accosted by the fingermen.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
Fingerman, dude. Creepy Creedy's Fingerman.
Yeah.
God.
And they are threatening to rape her
Yeah.
and beat her.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of, you get the impression that that's like par for the course.
Oh yeah, I mean, it seems totally like that's what happens.
That's not unusual.
Yeah, for sure. And she even understands that to
Yeah.
an extent.
They pull their badge out, and it's got like 2 red crosses on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very reminiscent of the Nazi insignias.
Yeah, I was wondering if that specific symbol had any other outside influence. It might, but
I think it's just the Christian cross. It was just the crucifix.
yeah, with an extra.
Yeah, they had like an extra branch, but the colorway was very Nazi. It was the red,
Definitely.
black, and white.
Oh, the whole aesthetic of this movie is trying to provoke Nazi for
Super
sure.
Nazi. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's essentially like a thought experiment of like, what if exactly what happened in Germany in 1930s happened in England in the 2020s?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Sutler's Hitler.
Yeah. It's also like not even that far. Sutler.
Yeah.
Hitler.
Yeah, true. I didn't even
They
think
made
of
the
that
name
till I
like
just said
really
that.
close. Yeah.
Huh.
So you've got this fascist police state,
Mhm.
surveillance state. And you have one guy
One guy.
in a mask.
Mm-hmm. The Guy Fawkes mask.
You all know the mask.
Yes, of course. Anonymous. I mean,
Yeah.
tons of shit has been made around this
Yeah.
mask.
It's very famous at this point. And he is, I guess, a quote unquote terrorist,
Yeah.
a freedom fighter.
Yeah, freedom fighter is probably a better,
Uh-huh.
like he's only a terrorist to the government he's trying to terrorize.
Yeah. I guess technically, like, if you're not terrorizing a population,
Mm-hmm.
you're not a terrorist.
Yeah, I guess he's just a rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's actually inspiring the population. He gets on, he blows up Big Ben clock tower in
Mhm.
like the second scene.
Yeah.
And he has Evie with him because he rescues her from the fingerman.
Mm-hmm. No
And-
fingering.
No fingers here, creepy McCree.
Oh, sir. Oh.
They blow it up, and then the next day he like hijacks the TV station to
Mhm.
deliver a message to the people because Sutler has tried to do, like, he owns the media,
Yeah.
and he's tried to do a spin narrative.
They're saying that like they demolished the building and
On
they
purpose.
had just fucking heat of the moment fireworks and music
Impromptu
too.
for celebration.
Yeah.
But the demolition's been planned for weeks. It
Yeah.
wasn't structurally sound. We'll have our engineers attest to that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So they're trying to spin it and control the narrative. And that's something that, we see today as well. All those, like, the ways that the fascist government in this movie interlink with, like, their media system.
Oh, yeah.
To control the narrative and control their population through narrative.
Yeah.
Was eerily familiar.
Well, yeah, we've been being subjected to it for
Our whole
while.
lives,
Yeah, a while.
Yeah.
It's increased more over the last 5-6 years for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, my God, yeah, it is messy and heavy.
Yeah, and it just reminds you to keep that in mind whenever you read a headline or your buddy shares a piece of news with you. And, and I try to keep this in mind even as I'm sharing news or digesting it with other people and receiving it. Like, what do you really know? Where did you get this piece of information from?
Yeah.
And regardless if you trust the source or not,
dude, you gotta doubt everything.
You have to start asking, like, critical questions. Like, if it's true, who benefits from telling it? If it's false, who benefits from telling it? Like, what are the motivations for all parties here?
Yeah. I mean, if it's not just like a complete facts-based thing, even then still, think about it. But if it's not like just here are statistics, here are numbers, facts, you have to think about it. Everything is being told to us with a bias.
Especially in a war era.
My God, yeah, and a devolving war era. We're getting farther into
getting
war.
Worse. Yeah. So as you're consuming news reports about Russia, Ukraine, China, Israel, Iran,
anywhere like
Syria, and the fall of Assad, like, all these things are going to come at you 10 different ways with 10 different biases. And it's just incumbent on us as, like, responsible people to, like, try to figure out as best we can, like, okay, well, who's telling me this right now and why do they want me to know it? What's the goal?
Absolutely.
Right?
You need to be asking these questions. And it's going to get so much worse with the progression of AI. I mean, things are going to be able to be so convincing that, I mean, anyone over the age of, like, 50 now, fucked. They're like, what?
Pretty screwed.
What are they gonna do, dude?
This movie doesn't. The thing about all these scary, like, totalitarian regime movies, like this, or like 1984, an Animal Farm, or Children of Men, which we watched last year. None of them even account for modern technology.
Not even close. It's going to be so much worse.
I know.
Like, that's what's the scariest part. Like, these are like the ideas that someone thought of a while ago, of like how bad it could be,
or in the 60s.
And we are easily going to have a much worse time if worst case scenarios really start rolling out.
So hang in there, guys, and be quiet in the back.
Quiet, shut the fuck up. Oh my God.
I really appreciate V's use of theater and performance metaphors throughout the whole thing.
Absolutely. I mean, that's half this battle. It's like, it is the battle to be a symbol for something that matters. You have to, people need more than just like a solemn named hero,
He's always talking about, like, dancing and singing, and he's doing these monologues from old movies and historical plays, and he has a mask. He's drawing from, like, a classical theater background.
Totally.
The charisma required to be a revolutionary is maybe, like, one of the most important parts, like the public speaking, the communication of a message.
Yeah, to be able to articulate that sort of a message on, like, a TV station as he did so quickly. That was probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes or something like that.
Eloquent, confident.
Yes. So planned, so thorough, and articulate.
It's like the kind of guy that's just going to go kill somebody.
Yeah.
Is, I don't know. That's not a revolutionary.
No, that's impulsive.
Like, you need that theatrical, that charismatic element to you to become a leader, to, like, inspire people.
Yeah. Even if you're not, there to become like a physical leader, just like a hero or the idea of a leader.
A movement icon, which is really what he wants to be.
Yeah.
He says to Evie at the end, as he has like the train loaded up with explosives, and he doesn't want to be the one who pulls the switch to send it into Parliament. He wants her to do it.
Yeah.
Because the world is going to change and he's going to actually go away and she's going to be the one who inherits the world.
Mm-hmm.
He wants the people who inherit the world to be making these decisions.
That's just exactly right. That's the perfect move.
Yeah.
That's a class act right there.
That's non-authoritarian.
Yeah, it isn't crazy.
It's fundamentally democratic in nature.
Oh, man. Before it forgets me, there is... So, I can't remember his name. I wrote it down. Prothero.
Yeah,
Prothero. The horrible fucking used to be...
Yeah, he's Commander Prothero. He was the news anchor. The voice of London.
The voice of London.
The fascist voice of London.
His, like, speeches, the way he would talk were haunting. Yeah. I hated it. But it did particularly remind me of... a music video that I think we should check out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's the beginning of a System of a Down song. And they are very politically moving, you know?
Didn't they come to America? Weren't his parents like political refugees from Serbia?
Yep, during Armenia.
Armenia?
During the Armenian genocide. Yeah. Yeah, and it is just, it's called, the song is Sugar, and it starts out with like a broadcast of this like deranged almost news anchor. He's like, I am the voice you want to hear. You listen to me. You trust me. And it is just, it's like exactly what. But yeah, we should check that out or throw it right there.
We'll have our producers handle that.
We'll have the producers handle that, whoever those guys are. But yeah, man, let's get back to that plot. So we see everything blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go and they do the whole like takeover of the radio station, the TV station, which is a pretty cool scene where he puts masks on everyone, all the hostages, so the police don't know who's the real V.
That was super smart.
Yeah, it's pretty smart. I've seen it done in a few movies.
Yeah. Batman.
And there's like a bank robbery movie where they do that.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the name of the movie. Drop it in our comments because I know one of you will immediately know the movie.
Yeah.
But there's like hostages in a bank and then they like have a list of demands, but they escape from the bank. And I think if I recall correctly, it was always a diversion. It was never about the bank robbery.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Doesn't ring a bell, but yeah, they'll know.
It's a cool thing that they pulled off pretty well in this movie.
Very much so.
The Guy Fawkes mask is just like so iconic and it works so well in this context.
Dude, especially with like the creepy hair, all of it, dude. It's just...
So after the broadcast, Evie is knocked unconscious by a police officer. And V has to make a quick decision because he believes that if he leaves her behind, she will be bagged by Mr. McCready's bags, taken to one of his underground cells, tortured, possibly killed.
Yeah.
So he takes her back to his like cool underground lair.
Yeah.
It's a lair for lack of a
That is definitely what it is. It's a cool ass underground lair full of...
It's like his headquarters, which he calls the Shadow Gallery.
Yeah. That's hard.
That's hard as fuck. The Shadow Gallery.
The Shadow Gallery.
In the Shadow Gallery, he has all manners of banned goods.
Yeah. I mean, ranging from everything, anything on the blacklist. So like, classical art that depicts things that the Christian ethno-state doesn't want, banned books, music, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Statues.
He mentions the Ministry of Objectionable Materials. And the blacklist. So like,
it gets me mad.
Yeah, we're talking Qurans. Yeah. We're talking just a jukebox with music. Just anything that inspires people and reminds you that humans have creative freedom.
Yeah.
And intrinsic rights.
Anything like that.
Anything that keeps you human is banned by this government. So keep an eye on your books list,
Seriously,
parents.
we cannot allow Fahrenheit 451 to happen.
Right.
That we cannot allow. We need the words we know.
Right. So far, the government, as far as I know, has like not tried to ban any materials of that nature, but the school systems have started doing that.
They have, yes.
Like at the local levels, if you are in an area where your school district is sort of run by conservatives or mostly Christian people, many of those school districts have been fighting for like the last 10 years to over like what kinds of books can be read.
Yeah.
Objectionable materials.
Yeah.
And
I know currently Oklahoma is one of the worst states for that at the moment. I also just know people down there, that sort of thing. But yeah, there's removing of a lot of classic literature that is deemed offensive and all this bullshit, as well as inserting Bibles into all the classrooms.
Yeah. The what is it? The superintendent of one of the Oklahoma school districts like spent something like $150,000 of taxpayer money purchasing Trump Bibles and then mandating their inclusion in every classroom in his district.
That is pretty upsetting.
That's insane.
That's just pretty upsetting.
That's straight fascist.
Yeah. And it's just like what do you think that those kids are going to learn? What? I don't know, man.
It's so crazy because like the Christian parents tend to support it.
Yeah.
And they don't see anything wrong with it because they think their religion is like good. Of course, that's why they believe it.
Yeah, of course.
They see nothing wrong with Bibles in the classroom, but it's like you have to have just forgotten what you learned as a kid, like separation of church and state.
Yeah. I mean,
this is a secular nation. It always has been. It was bad enough they added "In God We Trust" to the money.
I know. I agree.
They did that in the 50s?
Yeah.
But the original money never said that.
No,
it's not in any of our like national anthem or anything like that.
I got in trouble for school for not saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I used to not say it in high
same.
school too.
I'd fucking just like sit down like no.
Dude, after 9/11
I don't care.
and the way that George Bush like and Dick Cheney created a surveillance state and went into the Middle East.
Yeah.
Even back when I was like 14, 15 years old, I was like, dude, I'm not putting my hand over my heart and saluting our flag. I feel like a fucking Hitler Youth right now. It's crazy.
Why is there no logic? Oh, that's crazy, man.
So we have the shadow gallery.
Yeah. Eve's exploring it. She finds him down there, like attacking his little.
He's like fighting with a rapier while watching The Count of Monte Cristo, his favorite movie.
Yeah.
Emulating the scene. He informs her, however, that due to the covert nature of his lifestyle, she will not be allowed to leave here until next 5th of November. So that's a full year.
Yeah.
And she's distraught.
For sure.
She's not on board.
Rather upset with that.
It's worth noting that she's not necessarily like against the philosophy behind the bombing.
No, like, I think she kind of like really, she's shocked, but then immediately takes to it.
And what you find out is that both her parents were activists and they were killed during the reclamation or just before it, something like that. There were riots. There was a false flag operation that Sutler's government did with like the virus attack. It was actually them who like attacked London with it as a false flag to secure more power. 9/11.
Tower 7.
And but yeah, she has sympathy for V because of what her parents went through. She was raised as the child of activists, and then she was brought by the government after their deaths to a re-education camp, like a youth camp.
And I bet that was hellish.
Right. And, I think she does a pretty good job of suppressing all of that and trying to live a normal day-to-day life.
Yeah.
But now that V has like shook everything up, you can tell she's just like not that upset by the act of the bombing. She's upset that she's got roped into it.
Yeah, and like when people die directly, that upsets her. But that's a good thing to be upset about. That's a normal thing to be upset about.
Yes, that just means your head's screwed on straight.
Because you're a human, yeah.
And then we start a sequence in the movie of V crossing names off of a list.
Yes, definitely.
And this is paired also with a really fun sort of like side plot. We have two detectives, the chief investigator for Sutler's government, who is a party member, but fundamentally is a logical investigator.
Yeah.
So he's following the breadcrumbs and he's just like seeing where the information takes him.
Yeah.
Which is more than you can say for most people in his society right now.
Yeah. I mean, he was also like, it seems like somewhat of an outsider at one time, because he said that he'd been a party member for 27 years, but that implies him not being a party member.
Like maybe at the beginning.
Exactly. Just kind of fell where he could.
But so the movie starts doing this sort of parallel stories. One is V going back through his like list of wrongdoers and doing assassinations, basically, like elaborate kills.
Very.
He sneaks into their apartments and, you know, leaves them a rose.
Yeah. But yeah, he kills the voice of London, Prothero.
Yeah. Commander Prothero. This is the first time in the movie where you start to get any inkling of like what happened before. He's like, why are you keep calling me Commander? And he's explaining, because of what you did during the reclamation. Before you were the voice of London, you were this, that, and that. And you're starting to learn about Prothero's involvement in the concentration camps.
Yeah.
His status as like the head of a pharmaceutical company that developed the cure for the virus attack.
That they created and released.
So you're starting to get a picture. And then that picture is doubled down on with the parallel story of the two investigators.
Yes, they're finding it from the other side.
They kind of act as the audience's eyes and ears through this. They're like learning information about the history so as a proxy for us.
Yeah.
So then we're learning about it. And they're kind of a stand-in for us, I think, which I always appreciate.
Definitely.
In mystery movies like that.
Mystery, yeah, so it's not just so horribly vague.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure.
So yeah, he's doing a bunch of assassinations. You get Commander Prothero. You get a corrupt bishop.
Yeah, and so that's
a
also
pedophile
where,
bishop.
Yeah, that's also where Evie gets taken.
They use Evie as bait because
bait.
This bishop is into little girls.
Yeah.
He's so fucking gross, dude.
It is so nasty how he's like worried that she's not young enough.
His like secretary guy who's in charge of getting him girls is like, she's a bit older than usual. So he's like, oh. I hope she's not too old.
Ugh, dude.
Gross.
I mean,
but Evie is supposed to be used as bait. She takes this opportunity, however, to sort of betray V out of fear, mostly because she tells the bishop, my name's Evie. I've been held hostage by the terrorist V. He's going to come to kill you, blah, blah, blah. Please give me safety.
Thinks it's some fucking game and it turns him on, dude.
He's like, I haven't played this game. Role play.
Role play.
He's like, let's see if I can get you to talk.
Oh, yeah. Dude.
She doesn't like move fast enough, and V is able to get in there, kill the bishop, and
she gets knocked out in the meantime.
But she does escape without V, right? Like this is where they separate, and she goes to her boss's house.
Oh yeah.
She escapes to her boss's house. Her boss is like the head of the network. He has his own show.
Yeah.
Maybe not the head of the network. But,
but
there's the voice of London, and then he's a different TV show. Also very popular, not fascist, but still part of their propaganda network.
Yeah, for sure.
When she gets to his house, though, he's very nice. And he reveals to her that he also has a little back room.
Yeah. So, he was like a former gay person, right?
He's a closeted gay.
Yeah.
He's still gay, but
not former, but you know what I mean. Openly, he
used to be openly gay, I guess. And after the reclamation, he went into hiding.
Yeah.
And in his back room, he has like a Quran. He has a piece of artwork picturing the Chancellor as the Queen.
Yeah, definitely.
With lipstick on.
God save the Queen.
A bunch of items on the blacklist.
Yeah, one of them was extra weird. Did you see what's the fucking British flags? Something Jack? What is it?
Yeah. What is it?
Yeah. We're not
the Jack. The what?
You know what we're talking about. It was a British flag with
Right.
the American stars and a fucking swastika in the middle, which was
Weird.
super
It's
interesting.
like all three empires.
Yeah. It was just weird. And it had some, I can't remember the quote off of it for the life of me, but
Some sort of political commentary.
yeah, it was
art.
definitely interesting. It immediately grabbed my eyes.
Yeah, and he has some porno in the back,
Mm-hmm.
and some of it is gay, and that's what prompts him to like explain to her.
Yeah.
Because originally she was supposed to go on a date with him, and he's like,
Mhm.
"You're probably wondering why I would have invited you if I'm a man of different tastes."
Yeah.
And he's basically was trying to use her to keep up appearances. She was going to be his beard.
Yeah.
So he is a free-thinking man who is stuck in a hard spot because he's got a good job as a mouthpiece for this fascist state, but he has all this paraphernalia and beliefs about freedom and philosophy and stuff that he keeps to himself.
Mm-hmm.
And enough is enough for him. Eventually he goes and he rejects the state-sanctioned script of the day, and he puts on his own show.
Yeah, it's a good show.
It's good. It lampoons the chancellor.
Yes.
He has like a chancellor and a terrorist, and they're like chasing each other around to that.
It's very cartoonish. And... yeah, it's ridiculous. But...
he like ties his shoelaces together, and
Yeah.
the chancellor falls down. And
yeah, I mean, realistically, it's like not even that harsh.
it's just the act of like
Any
undercutting
criticism.
the power of the chancellor in
Yeah.
any capacity.
Yeah.
Is treason.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
that's what we're dealing with. And I will remind you all, Donald Trump has already been talking about pulling FCC licenses for broadcast stations that don't go with his like version of events. He wants to be this guy desperately. He wants that level of power. So just like remember the V for Vendetta
Yeah, just
themes
like think about that
when you
like,
watch
at
the
all.
real news.
Yeah. Oh man.
He has a conversation with Evie after the show, and she's really concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, what are they going to do? Find me?
Yeah.
I'm the most popular show in Britain.
Yeah.
You know, they'll give me a slap on the wrist. I'll have to make a public apology.
Mm-hmm.
And then our ratings will go up and we'll see what happens from there.
That is not what happens. That night, they come in, they break his door down.
Yeah. They beat him with clubs.
Yeah. And then find the Quran and kill him.
Yeah. They put a black bag over his head and drag him out of there. And this mirrors what you see happening to Evie's parents.
As a child, yes. It's like to a T.
Yeah. It's the exact same setup. Evie hides under the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the adult in the room gets beaten by thugs and put a black bag over their head and dragged out.
Yeah.
So this really like doubles down Evie into, I guess you would say it radicalizes her.
Yeah.
Like she is now willing to accept the real truth of the matter, that there's no living with this.
No, it has to change.
It has to change.
Yeah. Yeah, but so then I was like, it's not confused, but it's assumedly after what we find out, Guy is the one who comes in there and puts the bag over her head.
Right. So she is running out of the house. She escapes through the window.
Yeah.
And what you see on the screen is one of McCready's thugs like grab her. He's like, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's dressed like one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But what you learn later is it is V in disguise, and he is sort of infiltrated to save Evie.
Yeah.
But he doesn't let her know this. He proceeds to put on a like facade imprisonment, and he puts her in a jail cell, and she thinks it's all real.
Yeah. I mean, and he fucking shaves her head.
Right. He tortures her.
Yeah.
He interrogates her. He keeps her in prison for an undisclosed amount of time, probably weeks.
Felt like months.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It was long enough for her to sort of break emotionally.
Yeah. It just didn't seem like it was that long after she got out, before the 5th of November.
Yeah. And he's feeding her notes from the perspective of another prisoner in the cell next door. So she's getting these little pieces of toilet paper with an autobiography on them from a woman named Valerie.
Yeah. Right? Sad story.
Yeah.
But from Valerie.
It's a sad story of a woman, a gay woman who was happy before the reclamation.
Mm-hmm.
And then during this fascist takeover, both her and her wife were taken by the government for being gay.
Yeah. And slowly just
just tortured. And well, we know that these people were all being experimented on too.
Yes, those ones, we saw them at Larkhill, huh?
Yeah.
Yep, totally.
And because she was in the cell next to V, because these notes that V is feeding Evie, Valerie was feeding V. Yeah. These were real notes from real Valerie. It's the only part of this false imprisonment that isn't false. Mm-hmm. Well, and the feelings that Evie ends up feeling.
Yeah. But, I mean, it breaks her psychologically until she does not fear death.
Yeah. He's saying, if you're not going to cooperate, we've got a grand tribunal and they've decided that you're going to be executed today. Mm-hmm. And she says, I'd rather you kill me out by the chemical sheds than cooperate with you. And when she says that, I wrote it down. He says, you have no fear anymore. You're completely free. And he leaves the door open and walks away.
I love that.
Yeah. And I was saying this the other day, how, you know, philosophically, politically, like I might sympathize with certain ideas of action.
Sure.
But I have a wife. Yeah. And I have family, sisters, mother, father. Like, I'm not there.
No.
I'm not willing to do what it takes to like really spark change.
I'm willing to talk about what it takes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm willing to bring those ideas and give them fire.
These conversations I'm here for.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a reader, writer, philosopher type person.
When it comes to action, that's for people who have nothing to lose.
Yes, you have to have nothing to lose really to be viable as this type of candidate for revolutionary action.
Until it gets bad enough.
Yes, you have to not fear your own death. Mm-hmm. You have to have not strong enough attachments to other people or things or possible futures. Yeah. That, you know, you're not willing to hang in there.
Yeah. I mean, there can't be any of that.
None of that. So when this happens for her, she's truly broken and free simultaneously. And now she can do anything.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very powerful. And then really they go up to the roof and she stands in the rain. And you're getting these mirror images of V back when he was escaping from his test facility. Yeah. Because they were making the virus with his blood and all that stuff. He was walking through like fire because the facility was on fire, and she's standing in the rain, and it's like both of their Genesis moments like taking place. They're like opposite,
literally,
but mirror,
exact same, like what they do with their arms.
Yeah, they're like that. Yeah, and it's like elemental. It's like fire and water. It's like powerful and changing them chemically and physiologically, like into a new symbolic entity.
Yeah. I didn't actually think about the fire and water thing too. I mean, that would also represent like death and life, you know, in a lot of ways too.
Yeah. Change, nature, like rage, violence. There's actually a few scenes that mirror V and Evie's actions throughout the movie. The very first scene is both of them getting dressed to go out.
Oh yeah,
and
forgot about
Evie's
that.
Putting on her cocktail dress, and V's putting on his cloak and hat and mask, and it keeps cutting between both scenes. Yeah, I forget the technical word for that. I learned it in one of my film studies courses, but there's like it's a style of editing where you're showing two parallel things. Yeah, to draw those parallels for the viewer. Yeah, but then also in the TV station, she's pressing the elevator button, and then it cuts to him pressing the wow, the like loudspeaker button. So this is the third and final time that they do like a parallel edit between the two V's, and it's the Genesis.
E and V.
Just thought that was cool filmmaking stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love it when they did a lot of the camera work in this movie, and the editing was pretty excellent. Some of it was a little, some of it was dated, to say the least.
Some of the action sequences are really cheesy.
Yes, I kind of forgot about that until right
like
now.
With the What are those weapons? They're just daggers?
They're just like weird. Yeah, they're just
I don't
daggers.
think they're not like the Japanese style ones that like
Mm-mm.
the Ninja Turtles use.
Yeah,
with,
no.
the 3.
Yeah.
It's just a dagger, I think.
Yeah, it's like
They're
this.
like long daggers.
Long, thin daggers.
And he has like 6 of them in his jacket, and 2.
Cool.
He's always throwing them. But like when he's doing his spins and they put like motion blur trails on the thing through the air, like it's just too much.
It really is. They're like kind of like doing slow-mo. It's like it reminds me like, oh man, we wanted to do this like the Matrix, but we couldn't.
It's like a low budget Matrixing. Yeah. There's definitely some sort of like cheesy stylized things in this movie
for sure, but it's also that's a product of its time and era.
You know? It is also an adaptation of a graphic novel.
True.
And I think there's some creative license there to be a little comic booky.
Yeah, 100%.
Be intentionally stylized, and you know, it's not trying to be like Batman Begins, where it's like, let's do a superhero movie if it was real.
If it was real.
Like, as real as possible. This is definitely a stylized movie.
For sure.
It's comic-y. And I don't hate that, but definitely some of the visual effects were just a little bit like you're just like laughing at them a bit.
For sure. Oh, but yeah, then where are we at in this plot?
In the plot, we get to the point where all the assassinations are done, and the 2 detectives have kind of realized the truth about what happened during the reclamation.
Yeah.
Because they've been following these breadcrumbs, and they piece it together that the viral attack was perpetrated by the government. And he asks a question. He's like, if you thought that your government was the one responsible for all these deaths, would you really want to know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I would.
I want to know.
I would like to know every false flag that we've ever had, please. Yeah. Please tell me.
But it's sort of a turning point in the story, because now the investigator gets threatened by MacReady.
Yes. Yes, he does.
MacReady comes to his office and he's like, I forget like the excuse he gives him. Oh, he says you need to stop looking into the past.
Worry about what's currently happening.
And then he's like, is that a threat? And then MacReady steps closer to him and he's like, your parents were Irish, weren't they?
Yeah.
Insinuating, he's like othering him. And he's saying, well, you're not really English, you're Irish. Yeah. So he's
That's
like,
crazy.
He's like, it's a shame what the Irish went through. A lot of bad blood. And he's insinuating that he's going to be able to come up with a valid reason to imprison him and kill him.
Yeah.
For being Irish.
Yeah. My God.
And it's one of those things that does happen in all of these types of regimes, the infighting.
Yeah.
Where you get power that's consolidated to a group, like a core group, the party.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the chancellor and like kind of 5 dudes.
Yeah. And then the thing about power that's held in that way is that it's only validated by like fear and violence.
Yeah, definitely.
When you're not gaining power in a democratic way, you're doing it through coercion, force. You're always suspicious of the people around you because you did it to the person before you, and they can do it to you.
Yeah, and that fear that can always be bought. Respect and loyalty are not easily bought.
No, and power is just a matter of time. Like he keeps saying how MacReady is being suspected by Sutler because MacReady is a smart person. Yeah. And Sutler knows that if things go bad, MacReady will probably be able to take power. So they're both like conniving against each other. Yeah. And then he's threatening this other party member who's like one of the top 5 guys. So you're starting to see like the cracks.
Yeah, of course. I mean, especially with just all the chaos around, I bet those cracks are amplified tenfold, you know?
Yeah. The fear within the heart of Sutler is what compels him to be ever more violent and ruthless.
While he just sits underground and drinks his milk.
Gross.
I know.
More milk.
More milk, please.
But you can see as the time goes on in the movie and the date draws closer to the next November 5th.
Oh, yeah.
The chancellor gets more and more violent and the The curfews become more severe. The police presence is more severe.
Everything.
They've got tanks in the streets.
Yeah.
And it has this sense of inevitability.
Yeah, very much so.
V distributes masks to the people.
Mm-hmm. Fucking sweet.
Where did he get those?
Who made those masks? How did you... Yeah, he didn't make those masks.
He manufactured like at least 50,000 masks.
At least, yeah. Yeah, I'm fine to not think about where they came from. I'll just take it.
Suspension of disbelief.
That's right.
We're good.
But yeah, I mean, that also leads us to where MacReady and Guy meet. Guy comes to his house and meets MacReady, like, could kill him, but then gives him the option to pull the Chancellor out of hiding and kind of give him power.
He pits them against each other.
Yeah, really plays into that power balance very well.
He's like, a man as smart as you has to have a plan.
That's right.
A man as smart as you understands that Sutler knows you're planning. And he just plays him like a fiddle.
Totally. And then every meeting he has, he just keeps hearing, MacReady's ass is on the line.
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
He's like, I will hold you personally responsible, MacReady.
I think his name is it just Creedy? I think we've been calling him MacReady.
MacReady. That's just funnier.
Yeah, you're right.
You heard it here, quite in the back.
Yeah.
MacReady.
MacReady.
Creepy MacReady.
Creepy MacReady's creepy fingerman.
That's so gross.
It sure is.
Reminds me of Game of Thrones with the king and the finger.
Oh, yeah. I forgot
the hand.
The hand. Yeah, I was like, wait a second.
But his badge is like a finger.
Yeah, it's true.
The hand, the finger.
It's all the same.
I feel like there's another...
It's because there's little finger in it.
Yeah, little finger and the hand.
Yeah.
I feel like there's another piece of fascist media that includes like the eyes, the hands, the ears, and they're all different departments of the government that do surveillance. It could be 1984.
I think so. I think that's...
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah. Don't yell at us. Just tell us.
Tell us your favorite piece of anti-fascist literature.
Yes, literature and movie, please.
Movies are literature.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we get a final showdown between V, MacReady, and Sutler. MacReady drags Sutler out into a bag over his head.
Yeah, fucking
puts a bullet in his head. He's pathetic.
Disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting. It's so satisfying.
It is, though. Yeah, for sure.
Because they're doing another parallel edit with the TV in everyone's homes is showing Sutler giving this strong speech about anyone found in the streets will be considered a terrorist. Being out after curfew will be an act of treason.
While he's getting...
And then he's being dragged down the stairs with a bag over his head and put a bullet in it.
Yup, dude.
It's beautiful editing.
It is. It for sure is.
Cool storytelling. And I think that's probably straight from the graphic novel.
I'm sure. For sure.
Alan Moore is, dare I say, a genius? Very good.
And then he fucking slices and dices through all of MacReady's boys.
They shoot him with like 70 bullets.
It is so ridiculous.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, it is. But I don't care.
Love it. It's a great final scene. He takes all the rounds. He's like, you'll be dead before you can reload. He does all his dagger play, his dance of daggers.
It's really cool.
And then he cracks Creedy's neck. And he's fatally wounded. He meets back up with Evie and dies in her arms. Yeah,
and she basically presents him or puts him on like with a bunch of his flowers in the train that she's about to send.
They're doing a Viking funeral.
Yeah, with explosives and Parliament. That's sick.
And before she has a chance to pull the lever to send the train to Parliament, the investigator...
Hold it right there.
Chief investigator just pops around the corner. He's like, don't touch that dial. But
dude,
in this final encounter, you sort of see that due to the investigation and his logical mind piecing together the real story, he's come to terms with the fact that this has to happen.
Yeah, he took no convincing.
Yeah.
Like none. Like literally she's like, it has to. He's like, all right.
He's like, all right. Yeah, you got
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Flow it all up.
But he's a good boy. He wants to bomb Parliament and reset this fascist regime into a republic of the people.
That's right. And that's when we get one of our coolest scenes of the whole movie. All the fucking people in their masks. hundreds of thousands of people that are like descending.
They're all in their black hats,
Yep.
their masks, and their cloaks. They're
Yep.
just walking silently, like through the streets.
Mhm.
It's like a mob of ants.
Yes, like so many more than any of the soldiers on any of the
Yeah.
perimeter.
You've got small squadrons of soldiers with rifles, and they're trying to like radio to command, and there is no command anymore.
Yeah, the command's been deposed.
They're like, we're not getting any orders. What do we do? And he's like, at the last second, he's like, stand down. And the people are like filtering through the soldiers.
Yeah, just like pushing right through them. I love
shouldering them. And it's a great cathartic moment where you finally see the scales tip once and for all to the power of the people.
Yeah.
Over the power of the state.
God, thank God. I really.
Hopefully in our lifetimes.
Yeah, dude, no shit. Please. To an extent, at least.
That is basically the plot, the story.
Yeah, for sure.
There are some cool quotations that I wrote down.
Yeah, hit me with
that would be just fun to say.
Mm-hmm.
Before her death, one of the scientists who is responsible for creating the virus, she says, "I suppose it's meaningless to apologize."
Yeah.
And V says, "It's never meaningless to apologize."
Yeah. No, I actually like that quite a bit.
Yeah. Like,
even if you fucked up, like really bad.
Really bad.
Yeah. Still apologize.
The thing is that there's always room for like realizing the wrong of what you've done and trying to make it better. The only thing that makes it worse is like denying it,
doubling down,
like refusing to like reckon with the truth,
just blaming it on someone else or something. Yeah.
So if you've wronged someone, you have to go apologize.
Yeah.
It's never meaningless. Even if it's too late, it's not going to undo what happened. But if you're going to move forward with your life, like you have to be willing to dig deep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just the only way.
He also says violence can be used for good. Yeah. And she's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I'm talking about justice."
Talking about justice.
I loved that.
Yeah.
When people say that there's no room for violence in politics, etc., violence is never the answer. It's just a platitude that you hear a lot.
Yeah.
Typically, the more violent things are getting, the more you tend to hear that from people in power.
Definitely.
The truth is that that's not a reflection of human history.
At all. It's been necessary every time.
It's a completely inaccurate and inauthentic statement to say that violence is never the answer. It's never appropriate.
Yeah.
If you're being oppressed or someone you know is being injured or harmed or your society is being taken for a ride.
Yeah.
Violence is and has been often the answer.
Yeah.
Hate to break it to you guys.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And like, justice is often violence based.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to come off as like someone who's like irrationally not caring about human life. Obviously, human life is important in every capacity. It's just when the balance of general human life is not being taken into account for the amount of wealth and just fucking oppressiveness that the ruling class has, what are we to do? Really?
Yeah. Sometimes like people are not willing to be reasonable.
Yeah.
They're not willing to. And if the person who's not willing to be reasonable has power more than everyone else, and you are at the whim of an unreasonable person, and they're putting forward policies and like forcibly changing the world around you in ways that are harming us and making our lives all worse.
Yeah.
You can't just like roll over and accept that and just live like a chump for your whole life.
No, and I mean, the first course of action is to be like, to go out there and try and make a change in the system we have currently, you know, like actually being politically active, voting. It's the one fucking thing you can do.
Literally your only interface with the government.
It's the only one.
Do it.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of apathetic people not voting.
Especially if it's for some, oh my God. Yeah. Yes.
People being like, I'm not going to vote for either party because they're the same.
Yeah.
They're the same?
Yeah. What are you fucking talking about?
Nightmare. inside your brain.
Yeah, like they literally like.
Anyways, neither here nor there.
I know, it's just probably shouldn't. Yeah.
It was quite a quote, and it struck me as profoundly pertinent and relevant today.
Yes.
In the wake of the CEO killing, I think he said something very similar in a manifesto I read online. I don't even know if that was his real one or not.
It's still being said that it is.
But he said something to the effect of his life was being harmed. The pharmaceutical companies were like damaging him or whatever, injuring, and killed his mom. And he essentially saw the assassination as self-defense.
Yeah. Which is not...
Probably not literally true.
It's not
accurate.
Yeah. I can understand the feeling, though.
Yeah, the point is that for him, he felt like he was out of options. He exercised every path of recourse that he believed he could in the legitimate circuitry of the pharmaceutical industry through the insurance companies.
And they just kept denying his fucking claims.
And they kept fucking him, and he has no power and they have power. And he did the final thing that...
He snapped.
That actually like could have an effect.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
There's echoes of this movie in like everything I'm seeing today.
Every single thing. I mean, yeah, I don't think we could have chosen a more pertinent movie to watch.
Really. Right. Yeah. Other than Parasite.
Like
Parasite and V For Vendetta.
We just watched these on a whim, too.
We didn't plan that out.
Not at all.
It just
shows you what the world's feeling.
Yeah. It's just like cycling together, these things. Anything else in your notes?
The discretionary judicial system I thought was a horrifying concept with the fingerman.
Yeah.
Literally saying what was the exact term they used? Do you remember?
He said that because she threatened him, he now had the ability to exercise extrajudicial discretion, which means, I'm the judge, jury, and executioner now. You just gave me full legal rights to do anything I want in the streets.
Yeah, that can never happen.
Right. If a cop ever says that to me, dude, no. I'm going out blazing.
Yeah, that can't never happen.
That can never happen.
Like, that can't happen. Yeah.
That was pretty scary.
It was.
And it didn't come across as, like, outlandish.
No, it didn't. I mean, especially, like, if they're in that sort of situation, not even close. Strength through unity through faith terrifies me.
Yeah. Religion as a means of bonding people together over a common set of ideals.
No, please.
It's scary, dude.
It is. I just, I'm all so 100% for all religious freedoms.
Yes.
Except for when those religious freedoms are imposing your will on anyone else. That's it. There's no muddying of that should be allowed. Anyone's will should not be being opposed on in that sense.
Right. If we need to band together over sets of ideals, we should probably use our brains to come up with those ideals with the power of philosophy and logical thinking to like come up with ideals that we value as a community and move forward from there. Yeah. Instead of just jumping into a faith-based system of rules, relying on using that to like oppress other people, create in-groups, out-groups.
Yes. Oh, you're just Christian enough. You're in.
It reminds me of Civil War.
Yeah.
How American, or what kind of American are you?
Yeah. No shit.
Yeah. You Muslim American, Jewish American, homosexual American, Native American.
Don't yell at me.
God, it's terrifying.
It really is, man. I know.
Well,
yep.
We're pretty close to needing to wrap this up.
I mean, I don't think I really have anything else to add to it on this one. What
kind of a rating would you give this movie? Let's end it there.
Okay. So as far as like enjoyment, I'm feeling like a solid 8.5.
That's what I think too.
Yeah, solid 8.5. I think it's done technically very well too. For the most part, it seems like it wasn't crazy big budget, but
I feel like you can forgive the mid 2000s effects a bit.
Yeah,
I think it's an 8. I think like the fact that it's pulled from a graphic novel in some capacity weakens it as a film.
Yeah. Well, why is that?
Because of the stylization. Like, if you had just dialed back some of the graphic novel stylizings, it could have been taken just a touch more seriously.
True, and it would have benefited from that.
Yes, that's what I think. It just comes across a little cartoonish at times, and the subject matter is not cartoonish.
It is
deadly serious. So there's just a little tension there for me in terms of execution.
Yeah.
But other than that,
still a great movie, must watch.
Performances are awesome.
Yeah.
Cinematography is great.
Natalie's great. My God.
So it's definitely a must watch. And stay classy, America.
Stay woke.
Also, stay quiet in the back.
Yeah, shh.
Shut up. We'll see you next Monday.
Yeah, thanks for watching as always. Don't forget to smash that bell.
Yeah, please subscribe and share this with your friends and tell people about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Word of mouth is our best friend.
Right? That's right.
So,
heck yeah.
All right, see you guys.
Religious zealots all must die. They took our country, gone goodbye. Stab you in the shower, give you a rose. By the way, I killed you 10 minutes ago. Creepy Creedy put you in a black box. A bag on your head for your illegal thoughts. You own the Quran, now you must die. Everything you love's on the blacklist. It's V and Evie, here to fight the fascists. This is a documentary. It's V and Evie, here to fight the fascists. We live in a dictatorship. Commander Protero watches himself while he showers. A pharmaceutical bro, now V gives him his flowers. Him and the Chancellor bomb their own city. Tucker Carlson wishes he had those balls, but he doesn't. It's V and Evie, here to fight the fascists.